So today what we're going to do is I'll just show you guys how to get started from the very beginning with Pear Deck. And this doc that I just shared with you guys, if you haven't installed the add-on or the power-up extension, that would be the first thing I would do. And so you can just click directly on that doc and it'll take you where you can install that add-on, and the same goes for the power-up extension. If you click there, it'll take you here where you would say add to Chrome. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already. And then I'll show you a little bit about the settings, how to create an interactive slide presentation, and how to run your Pear Deck session. And let us know if you have any questions. Actually, why don't you guys tell me in the chat when you're done, and that way I know to move on. A little bit about the other resources on here. There's a couple presentations in here. The third one on the list is like an overview presentation that Kate made about Pear Deck. So if you want to go back and review later on, and Marina made this fourth one, some tips on how to run a session. And then there's a couple more resources that I'll show you guys later. But there's also at the end the coaching request form. So if you guys need any help later on, you could submit a request, and one of the coaches can help you out. Okay, so moving on. So the next thing you want to do once you install those add-ons and extensions, start by going to peardeck.com, and then you want to go to teacher login, and it's going to prompt you to log in with Google. Looks like I was already logged in before, so it remembered me. And once you get in there, there's a couple settings that you might want to change. So I'm guessing, yeah, so just go to peardeck.com and then teacher login and log in with Google. And then if you click on your profile picture at the top, you can go to My Account to get to your settings. So it's the picture, My Account, and then there'll be the Settings tab right here. And because we have the paid version, there's a lot of extras here that you want to make sure you turn on. The first one here is the classroom climate. And so when you do a Pear Deck, it always starts by asking, like, how are you feeling today? So if you like that, you could leave that on. And at the end, it asks for feedback, like how did the session go? So you could choose, one or the other or both, and or you could turn it off completely. Immersive Reader, I would definitely turn that on. It helps the students read the slides. And I'll show that in a bit. Google Classroom, I tested a little bit, and I don't know, I didn't really get much out of it. Maybe Miranda has tried it, I don't know, but you could turn it on if you want, just to have the option. It's really easy to share just by sharing a link, so I don't find it very necessary. But all the rest of them I turn on. Takeaways, after you're done with a Pear Deck, you would have the option to share a document that has all the slides on it with your students, like whatever they answered in the Pear Deck, you could share that with them so they have a kind of like a picture of all the slides and their answers. And then the last one, this one is very important to turn on. If you want to see who is typing what on the Pear Deck slides, you want to turn this on and say the login with Google. That way you can see the student's name, and the takeaways won't work if you don't turn this on. So definitely turn that on in your settings. Any questions about that? Okay.
I have a very brief question. Sure. I think I was able to log into everything you asked for, but I was playing some very fast catch up about the setting features that you were showing us. Would you show me how to enter the setting features one more time?
Oh, sure. So the way you get there is by clicking on your picture on the top right, and then go to My Account, and then you'll see a Settings tab right there. And you could just basically turn everything on.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now that we're ready, we can go. Basically what I do is I just go to my Google Drive and start in slides. And so you could go to Google Drive and open a new slide presentation. And then for to be able to see all the Pear Deck options, you can click on this button that says Pear Deck. And that got added there once I added the Pear Deck Power Up extension. So if you haven't added it, you won't see that. Another way to get it to open up is to go to the add-ons and then find Pear Deck and then open Pear Deck add-on. So either of those will open a little side panel here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And then I get all the options here that I'll go through in just a sec. So I like starting in Google Drive because it lets me organize, where do I want to keep this slide presentation? Maybe I have a folder all about math or vocabulary where I want to have it organized. You can also start on the website, peardeck.com, here, create a lesson, but I definitely recommend going through Google Drive. So now there's 6 types of interactive questions that you can add. And you don't have to make every slide interactive. Maybe some of them are just teaching the student something, and then you add a question. But I'm going to show you an example of each one, and then I'll run the session so you guys can be the students so you could see what that looks like. So you could just add anything just like a regular slide. For example, I might insert a picture. So I'm going to go to my computer, and I know I took a picture of a clock. Yeah, I'll just put that in there. And then maybe my question, I'll type here, what time is it? So I'm going to use text for this one. And these first 3 options, that actually will open like a little side bubble for your students to put their answer in. And the other 3, website, drawing, and draggable slides, will be things that students can interact with on the slide itself. So I don't need to leave a space here for them to type the answer. So when I click on text, it takes a second, but then it should just add a little bar at the bottom of your slide. And now I know that when this bar is here, that this is an interactive question. If I could actually click on it and delete it, and that would make it not interactive again. So you want to make sure you leave that there if you want it to be interactive. So the next type is multiple choice here. So you could, type whatever question you want. There's a lot of templates here you could use. So if I click here on our template library, you could kind of look through here, and anything that you like, you could just click on it and it'll put it in this slide. So maybe I just like this picture, but I want to change the question. So now that I clicked on it, it put it right in there. And any text I can just edit. So let's see, what's a multiple choice question? Like, what is the fastest animal or something? And then, oops, this says text slide. So I don't want this to be a text. So in this case, I could just remove this here. And then I want to make it multiple choice. So I'm going to go back here and go back again to the question types, and then I'll click on this choice one. So that's one reason you might delete the bottom bar. So now I'll put turtle, cheetah, shark or something. Okay, and then update the slide, and then we'll see what that looks like in a little bit. But when I look here, I can see what kind of interactive slide it is. It tells me students choose an option. So in case I forgot. All right, then the next one is a number. So if I choose this one, the students will only be able to enter numbers. I don't think they can put any symbols. So maybe for this one, I'm gonna show you another feature, this add audio to slide. And I'll find another template that I like. So I know, let's see, where was it? The number one, oops, 1 second. There is one that I really liked here. Oh, well, I won't waste time going in here. I'll just record. So basically, what did I say? And this could be like for a listening practice, or maybe I want to read every single slide so the students could listen, you know. But in this example, I'll make it like a math question. So I'm clicking record, now it's recording. Write the number 206,094. And then I can pause and I could save it, or I could delete it and start over if I made a mistake. I can preview it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that audio to the slide to see what that looks like. And so now I can see there's audio included. But and then, you know, I could add anything I want to the slide here. Now I'm gonna make it interactive, add that number question. And then just say update slide. And now it added it right here. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, the last three, let's see, are ones where there's gonna be interaction on top of the slide. So for example, let's do a draggable one. So I know we saw a good template here under social studies. So there's different, you know, ways of searching for templates, but I like this one that had a map on it that I saw here, like this one. And it tells me here it's already draggable. So now it's adding it to my presentation. Oops. And then I could modify any of the text. So maybe I'm gonna, you know, type locate 3 Spanish-speaking countries. And then maybe I'll remove the text completely, or I could name some Spanish-speaking countries, for example. And maybe I'll just delete the rest because I don't have time to finish. Okay, so then that looks like it's ready. I can tell it's interactive because that bar is there. And then I'll go to my next slide. Let me just go here. Okay, so then let's add a drawing slide. So for that example, let's see, I thought there was a really good one where there was a diagram already made for me. But again, you could use all the drawing tools up here to make your own. So I'm going to go back here, and I think there was one that said any content area. Example questions. Oh yeah, this one, the drawing slide with a diagram. So for example, for this one, I could change the picture to anything I want. So I could just click here and delete it, and then search for something that I want the students to label. So I'm going to go search the web, and then I'm going to look for an ant PNG, and then maybe that one's the one I want. So I'll insert that and resize it. And then I could move, you know, this around if I need to. Oops, let's put this behind by changing the order. Send to back. Oops, now it's too far back. Anyway, I'm not going to waste time with that because we have a lot to cover, but then you could change the words here as well. And then there's one more type of slide that you can add, and that's a website. And the reason you might want to embed a website in here or embed a video is so that the students don't have to move to another tab. So they can just do everything directly on the Pear Deck presentation. So I'm going to go back out of the templates. And then if I click on website here, then it'll give me a place where I could paste a link. So I found this, I like this quotation marks video. Oops. So if I go to that video and then go down to share, there's kind of a specific way that you have to copy it. So if I copy this, it's not going to work. I have to go to the embed, and then you copy just the part between the quotation marks. So here's the address. I go right, oops, sometimes that happens to me. I'm not sure why. But if it happens to you, I'll show you how to fix it since I think it's not going to let me copy just that. So I'm going to go back to my slides and then paste it. And you see, like, this is not going to work because I copied the whole thing. So I need to find just that address and delete everything else. I think this might happen because I'm presenting right now. I'm not sure. But yeah, every now and then I get this weird error. Okay, kind of getting to it. Oh, here we go. So there's the quotation marks. I'm going to delete them. And now I see a preview. And so now I know that it will get embedded. And so I click Update Slide. And so I can't see it myself. So that's kind of a thing that's a little bit annoying about Pear Deck. I can't see what the students are going to see. But when we start the lesson, like I definitely recommend, you know, starting it and seeing the student view before you actually share it with students to make sure everything looks okay. One more thing about adding, I think the draggable one is kind of interesting if you create your own. And I just wanted to show that in case you use that feature. So if I add a draggable question, this is where you get the option of what you're going to drag around. And so you could add up to 5 icons. And if I click here, I can't add, you know, my own picture. It's kind of limited to a few different options. So maybe I'll add the little flag symbol and then I can change the color. So I'll put like, oops, add another, okay, add another, and I could make them different symbols if I want to. And I can change the color. So then that way I know that'll be added to my slide. But again, if I click Update Slide to put it in, the teacher doesn't really see where those things show up. I think they usually come out kind of in the corner here. But then I could add, you know, my own map if I want to. I don't have to use the templates. So let's go ahead and add a picture really quick. And then we'll see what that looks like when we look at the student view. All right, any questions about adding different interactive slides?
Maybe one question, do you always have to, like when you added this map, does it have to be small? So there's room for the students to fill out?
No, I could make it fill all the space. Or maybe I could add it as the background. Yeah, I think the flags will just appear above it. So you can make it as big as you want. Let's try that.
One motivation to make it a little bit smaller is just so you could type your question there, like put the flag on Texas or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'd put it off to the side and then change the text box here. Like find Watsonville or whatever you want to put. Okay, so once you're ready, you can just click on the Start Lesson, and that'll launch your lesson. I'm going to do that. So launching the lesson and like the teacher view is a little overwhelming sometimes, I'd say, because there's a few different windows that pop up. So you guys will see that in a second. So the first choice I get is, do I want it instructor paced? So that's like the live mode, like with your students, or student paced, like the homework mode. And if it's the student paced, I think I had one open here. Yeah, so if it's the student paced, like the homework mode, the students will just have some little arrows right here where they can flip through the presentation and answer the questions. But if it's the live, like instructor view, they won't have that. They're gonna have to wait for you to move the slides along. Okay, so in this case, I'm gonna pick instructor paced, and then you guys can join and see what the student view looks like. And so what it's gonna do for me, it opened these two windows. This little one that opened up is called the dashboard. And this is one that I would not share with the students. So when you're getting ready to meet with them, I would kind of put this off to the side so you could see who's answering what. And then this projector view, this is the one you want to share this window in your Google Meet. And that way they can see your instructions, you can talk to them. So what students would be doing is they would have the Google Meet open in one tab, and then they'd go to another tab and open up the Pear Deck. They could do split screen, but sometimes it makes the presentation too small. So as a teacher now, what I would do is share this, and then students could go to joinpd.com and enter the code. And then as you guys join, I will see here how many students have joined. Or the easiest probably is for the teacher to click here, give students a link, and it automatically copied the link. And then I could put it in the chat. So I'll just put that there now. And you could also share that in Google Classroom if you need to. But yeah, students could just click the link. And so now I see I have one student connected. I'm going to go ahead and also connect on another tab. Sometimes it's useful for the teacher to also log in as a student, so you could model basically, tell students what to do. Okay, now I have too many windows open. I'm going to close that one. Okay, here's the one. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start the class. And so this window is what I would be sharing with students. And I'm going to get the other one over here. Okay, so what time is it? I see some people have already answered. And so as a teacher in this dashboard view is where I could be checking, okay, this is what Erin said, this is what Miranda said. But if on the projector view, this is the one that the students are seeing, I could decide, do I want to show them responses after we've talked about it? What time is it? How do I know what time it is? And so on this dashboard view, you could also, right now I have it on the list layout, but you could do grid view if that's easier to see certain answers. So depending on the question, there's different layouts for organizing the information. Here I have a few answers. I mean, a few things I could do. The star is if I want to like pin one of the examples. And that's helpful if I want to share just like one answer. If I go here to show responses, it shows everybody's answer to the students. But maybe I just wanted to share this one answer. So I could star it or a couple. And then if I show responses, it only shows that one that I want to discuss with my students. The other option you have here is to leave feedback. And so that might be, you know, in the moment, leaving feedback. Maybe you don't have time, or if you have a co-teacher, that's one thing that adding a co-teacher here is good for, so that you could be, you know, someone could be managing this and someone could be presenting. Another, let's see, oh yeah, and then if you go to the 3 dots, you could hide a response. So if there's something inappropriate, you could hide one and then share all of them. A few more things about the projector view. Down here, you have the option to lock the screen. So maybe it's been enough time and I'm gonna click lock so you guys can see what that looks like. And then maybe that's my way of saying, okay, now go back to the meet, I need your attention, I'm gonna explain something. So I could just click again to unlock it. You could also click and hold on the lock screen to get the option of setting a timer. So maybe you tell them you have 1 minute to answer this question. And then if I go to my student view, I see it counting down. And here in the dashboard for the teacher, I see it as well. Okay, go back to the teacher.
Can I ask a quick question about student responses?
Yeah.
Once a student just starts writing in, does it record their response, or do they need to hit something to have their response recorded?
No, it'll just appear, but they can always like click out of the box as well so they can see their answer.
So it would show like an incomplete answer without them submitting it if they never finished the word or the sentence.
Yeah, if they run out of time, you'll see it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, this one new prompt, you can, as a teacher, add another question even while you're presenting, but I find it very limiting. Basically, the way it works is I would go to whatever question it is that I want to copy or duplicate. You can't just start from scratch. So if I go to new prompt, there's some like Pear Deck prompts that are really popular, like draw or type 2 things you learn. So maybe if you just want to add one of those, then it'll appear in your presentation right after the slide you had selected. If I wanted one that was from my presentation, you could click the arrows to kind of see some more options. And the very last one is use the current content. And so it would just copy your slide, but you could change what type of interaction it is. So for the most part, you want to finish all your slides before you start with your students. So let's look at some more. So what is the fastest animal? So you guys have the multiple choice for that one. And so again, it looks different for me as a teacher. And that's one reason you might log in as a student too. Oops, did I lose mine? I don't know why my computer, oh, there it is. So if you were looking at my screen, you might have noticed that the question was hidden. And so that's one reason the split screen sometimes doesn't work as well, is for the students to be toggling back and forth. That might be better, to toggle between the meet and the presentation. And so here on the dashboard, I can see people's answers and I can go to the different views. Okay, so let's go to another one. Oops, it looks like I have one more minute. I'll just kind of go through the rest really quick so you can see. So for the next one, that was, that was the audio recording. So where students find it is at the very bottom. There's these little headphones. And so you could click there and then play. So I'm clicking to hear the recording. Right. Let's go to the draggable one. Let's see what that looks like. So now, the symbols were all over here, so I could drag them. Oh, I tried to delete some of them and it didn't go. I'll have to double check that later. Okay, so when you're done, what you want to do is go to end your session. And so then you could name it and it saves your session. If you go to peardeck.com, I'm just going to call this test. And then since I had takeaways enabled, I have the choice, do I want to publish like a doc that has all the students' answers on it? If you do, it'll save it to your Google Drive. And so you can always go back and see their answers. So I'm going to save and end. And the last thing I want to show you guys is just in peardeck.com. Let's say I ended that session, but I wanted to go back in and open it up again. Maybe I didn't finish teaching that whole thing. So once I log in, I can go to sessions, and then these are all the sessions that I've ever done. So I could always go in there, and then if I go to the 3 dots, I can end a session or reopen it, or I could just click on it to open it up again.